Tanzania. We're going to be joined by Jeffrey Leah via Zoom. But first, we've got Velile Munyandu, who's going to be joining us via Zoom from South Africa, as I introduce my sign language interpreter, Anu Wangeshi. Velile Mthelekazi, very good morning to you in South Africa.
Morning, and also morning to your viewers in Nairobi as well. And I must say that I'm sporting Nigerian colors this morning. I'm celebrating the record 10-time champions, the Super Falcons, as the WAFCON champions. I think this is the only day where I'll be forgiven for wearing Nigerian colors.
Okay. Well, let's start with this. South Africa qualifying late for this championship, and they had to face Malawi, they had to face Egypt in an eliminator. How was, the preparation for that? Because somebody thought at one point South Africa was not going to be participating.
Yeah, well, as you'd recall that South Africa was not part of the original team that had qualified for the tournament, and that is for one simple reason that when it comes to CHAN, it's always a big challenge in terms of getting players from the top league. As you'd know that even with our senior national team, A team, that plays even in the AFCON qualifiers, in the World Cup qualifiers, is considered of locally based players playing in the Premier Soccer League. So even in this particular instance with the CHAN tournament, it's also the same. And the biggest challenge is the availability of those players. Even now, it was a struggle. I think something that we're going to talk about. But be that as it may, I think with the kind of quality of talent that is here in South Africa, it's not a struggle to get a team to play there. The only challenge now is that the team is made up more of players who are clubless.
Well, it's a very interesting factor about that the coach, when he named his squad, it was a whole set of free agents. But let's look at just the 5 who so far have been picked from the club that has got them is Mamelodi Sundowns providing these players. How have these 5, opted to come in and give the Bafana a push, and also knowing that they've got huge experience playing on the continent, and they also had the experience of playing at the Club World Cup?
Yeah, I think that's another plus factor here, is that in as much as we're talking about players who are unattached, but most of them, they've got international experience. They've either played for the A team of Bafana, and also they've also played in the CAF interclub competitions, that is the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup. I mean, if you look at the likes of Neo Mayema, he was one of the key players when they were playing last year. In fact, last season with Sundowns, I mean, he was in the final, featured in the final, in the CAF Champions League final against Pyramids. So he's not a new player in this space. The experience of Ramahlwe Mphahlele will be captaining this team as well. Terence Mashiko, also from Sundowns. Mali Khoza, one of the young and emerging talent in that Sundowns team. Robin, in fact, Kigen Ioannis, who has not really gotten a chance. I mean, you have the experience of people like Thabiso Kutumela back in this team as well. You have Kigen Dolly with experience of having played in French Ligue A. So there's just a number of players in this team. From Orlando Pirates, you've got players like Zakele Lipasa, Makaringa previously with Pirates, and most recently with Cape Town City. So I think we've got a decent team, a very good team, I must say. But maybe the issue could be around issues of fitness, because we're just fresh from the preseason. But we'll hear more, because we're meeting with the head coach and the team tomorrow. They are playing against Angola in an international friendly before their departure later this week.
Well, and let's take a look at the group in which South Africa are in. South Africa will be based in Kampala, playing against Algeria, Uganda, Niger, and Guinea. How have you assessed the opponents that the Bafana will face?
Yeah, not an easy group, especially when you've got a team that the hosts also in your group as well. So it's always going to be a challenge. That one I was always mindful of how are we going to shape up for this tournament? What kind of a squad that we are going to have for this tournament? But I think looking closely and looking at the team that we are sending now, well, maybe despite the fitness challenges and all those things, but in terms of experience, I really do feel that we are going to come out of this group. In terms of how what will happen once we reach the knockout phase, I'm not really sure from there. But in terms of coming out of the group, I think I'm very confident about that, taking nothing away from the other teams in our group. And I think I'm also basing this on the ability of the team that has been put together. I'm basing this also on the experience and also the hunger. Remember, the more than about 12 players who are unattached. These are not players. I mean, one of them could be going to Simba. That's the reports here, Neoma, but I think it will only be after the tournament. And I think the good thing there is also the CAF rules about countries that are hosting CHAN tournament introduced in 2014 that you cannot have an active league when you're hosting a CHAN tournament. So to some of these players are players who are also looking to impress. They are also international scouts who are in this tournament, and there are also younger players even in this team who still have ambitions of playing outside the continent. And even for those who consider themselves older, this is an opportunity as well to impress an area that is quickly catching up on African football, that is in the Gulf region.
All right. So one question, it's with a team of, about half the team being free agents, which is, a little bit unusual. What did Coach Molefe, give us the reason of picking up these free agents? Because for somebody outside and you see somebody unattached, it will be some, what would I call it? It can be a commentator's nightmare.
Yeah, but the reality is that these are very well-known players. I mean, the likes of Kikindoli, the likes of Zakele Lipasa. And remember, the season is just starting, and it's not a matter of, and also here at home, the transfer window is closing mid-September, so there's still an opportunity. In fact, it could be a big issue because I know that some of these players are also wanted by other teams here locally. If they were to commit now, then it would mean that they're not going to leave. But the reality is that one of the big reasons that South Africa has not been competing in the CHAN tournament, and not just South Africa only, especially with also Egypt as well. I mean, Egypt, you'll recall that they lost in the qualifiers, and we beat them in the qualifiers, and this is despite Egypt also having a strong domestic league as well. But the reality is that they are struggling to put the squad together because clubs are not releasing the players because the tournament falls outside the international week or the official FIFA calendar, So you end up now as the coach having to come up with different plans. So there was a plan to select more maybe players coming from the national first division. Well, there's a few faces of players coming in the national first division, but the challenge with some of them, I think there's about 4 or 5 of them, but the challenge also that we've been facing is players who are not having passports. Maybe players, they never thought that they will get a chance to play for to represent the country at international level, But I think in the main, the issue of us not being able to send teams to CHAN is the issue of availability. And as you would know, that the new season is starting this coming weekend here in South Africa with the MTN 8, and then the following weekend the league program is starting. So there's always going to be clashes when it comes to the availability of players. As I have said, that even for our senior national team, the A team, more than 80% to 90% of our starting lineup is local-based players.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Mnyandu, and I hope to see you in Nairobi or Kampala, wherever you will be. I'm sure there's lots that you'd like to see. Thank you very much for your time this morning, and all the best as South Africa in Group C playing against Uganda, Algeria, Niger, and Guinea. And right now, let's move over to Dar es Salaam, and we shall be speaking with Jeffrey Lair. Remember, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania co-hosting, and in the case of Kenya, Chan iko KBC. And also, news flash, if you want to buy tickets for the Harambee Stars versus DR Congo game, don't bother. They are sold out. Not a single ticket is available for Kenya versus DR Congo on Sunday. So you have only one option. Tune in to KBC Channel 1, Kusabu Chan, iko KBC. Over to Dar es Salaam. Let's now join Jeffrey. Jeffrey, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Sasa KBC, mkwaje, habari zenu?
Tuko wazima, labda za kwako.
I'm fantastic. I'm at Dar es Salaam. The weather is very nice. I'm just from doing my daily radio show, and the excitement is definitely building up for what is going to be a monumental, or rather a historic or an epic occasion that will see our country host one of the biggest tournaments in African football, as much as it's a below-tier tournament compared to the AFCON. But we don't mind about that. We're just excited that our country, together with the other East African countries, neighbors, Kenya and Uganda, together we'll be hosting an African tournament. It's a wonderful time to be alive.
Well, okay, the news flash in Kenya is this. The tickets for the 3rd of August are sold out. Can anybody get a ticket for Tanzania versus Burkina Faso today, or those are also sold out?
I'm not so sure if they are already sold out because we've not yet had an announcement about the tickets being put on sale. But I'm quite sure that will happen maybe 3 days before the match. As you know, in Tanzania, we normally have this tendency of sometimes issuing free tickets to fans, but I think they'll be put on sale on very affordable prices. So I have no doubts that at least maybe 24 or 48 hours before the match, the tickets will be all sold out because, as you know, the passion for football in Tanzania is very high. Albeit it's higher when it's the two big clubs, Simba and Yanga, involved. But those two teams are also a huge part of our national team. And definitely that's going to be a reason why these tickets will be sold out. And we are going to see a full house come Saturday when Tanzania will be facing off against Burkina Faso.
So let's now get to the story of, the Pamoja bid came in. Then it was Nick Mwendo who was there, and after that there was Moses Magogo in Uganda.
I've lost you guys. I can't hear you.
All right. Okay, let me repeat that. Looking at the Pamoja bid, Tanzania is going to be hosting two groups. You've got Group B in Dar es Salaam, Group D in Zanzibar. Let's start with the story of Zanzibar because that was the last announcement and the work that went behind putting the Aman Stadium.
The Amani Stadium is a stadium that has been there for as long as I've been alive. What just happened is renovations of what was already there. And I was at the Amani Stadium around May, when there was a CAF Confederations Cup final between Simba and Mekane, and the stadium is in fantastic shape. Zanzibar, as you already know, is one of the biggest tourist attractions in Africa, pretty much the world. It's one of the most visited destinations in this country, if you like. So it's an exciting time for the Zanzibar people because it's now a bit of something they're used to, seeing these matches, because some league matches, and also I think the FA Cup final was played at the Amani Stadium. So the stadium is obviously in great shape, and the Zanzibar people are fantastic people, very welcoming, as you already know, in the Swahili culture. So the excitement is definitely fever pitch, and everybody is waiting to see, to witness Chan, because Tanzania, as you rightfully say, we'll be hosting two groups, which one will be in Zanzibar, the other one will be in Dar es Salaam. And for Dar es Salaam, this is definitely something people are beginning to get used to, because at some point, some teams like Al Hilal used to play their CAF matches. As you already know, the situation in Sudan is not conducive at the moment due to the political instabilities that are going on there. We've also had scenarios whereby countries like Burundi, Guinea, and even Sudan, they've been coming here several times to play the international friendly matches, their CAF matches. Tanzanians are used to seeing their club sides reaching the later stages of the CAF competitions, like Yanga got to the final a few years back. Simba did the same thing just a few months ago. We've seen clubs, high caliber clubs like Mamelodi Sundowns come to play Yanga. We've seen Pyramids, we've seen Al Ahly. So it's a continuation of what has been happening. As you already know, I think Tanzania has been seeing these CAF matches in abundance more than the other East African neighbors for obvious reasons. So this is a continuation of what has been happening, and for a country that prides itself in having a soccer-loving population, this is just...
Well, let's actually now talk about the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. I know when the works were being done, and work was done to make sure that the pitch is in great condition, and that's the reason why Simba played the cup final in Zanzibar. Just give us, just a little bit of some of the work that has been done at the National Stadium and the new things that have been put out.
The National Benjamin William Mkapa Stadium in Temeke, Dar es Salaam is also in fantastic shape, as we speak. The last time this pitch was used, I think it was in the semi-final match between Simba and Al Masry. That was also a time where there were a lot of rains in Dar es Salaam, so the weather was a bit not friendly as we're used to. But ever since that time, it's been about 3 months. The pitch has been untouched, so it's waiting for the Chan opener between the host Tanzania and Burkina Faso. So I can confirm that the pitch is in fantastic condition. Renovations have been done everywhere. So even for the people who will be coming outside from Tanzania, the people who will be coming from all over Africa, South Africa, Morocco, and other places, they'll definitely enjoy themselves. They'll enjoy the atmosphere at the Mkapa Stadium. I think the Wi-Fi facilities have been renovated. So the stadium looks as good as new as we speak. And I can confirm that ever since it was last used when Simba played Al Masry in the CAF Confederations Cup semi-final, the pitch has been left untouched, and the renovations have been completed since a month ago. So everything is ready, and everybody is waiting for the opening ceremony that will be happening there.
The opening ceremony, I mean, any hint of some culture that may have been dropped by the LOC, because we know Tanzanian music, bongo flavor, is huge, but bringing Africa together, just some hints of what may have been let out of the, if anybody has let the cat out of the bag somewhere?
I definitely expect to see some of the biggest Tanzanian musical acts at that showpiece event, because this is something that has happened before. We've had Tanzanian musicians perform at in occasions like the CAF Player of the Year Awards. We've also had, if you remember, the last time when we had the African Football League, whose opening ceremony happened right here at the Mkapa Stadium with guests like Gianni Infantino, Arsene Wenger. We should definitely expect some biggest musicians like the king of Bongo Flava, Ali Kiba himself. I'm not so sure if he is booked, but I'm not going to be shocked if I see him, because that is what has been happening. As you know, like what sets the tone in our football culture here is normally what happens with the big clubs, Yanga and Simba, and these two teams normally have a particular day whereby they showcase their new players, they showcase their new kits, and this is normally a day that is graced by the presence of some of these big musicians who are also football fans. They support these teams. Like last year, Yanga, they had an artist like Harmonize, who is known to be a huge Yanga fan. He's also a football player himself, a little bit, an amateur football player. But Ali Kiba, who supports Simba, he also graced the occasion, the Simba Day last time around. So one thing that we can all be assured of is we will see some of the biggest musical acts from Tanzania. And I think we will have a musical festival maybe 1 or 2 days before the tournament, whereby it's going to be a festival that has to do with a musical genre that has its roots in Tanzania, Singeli music. This is a music genre that started here in Tanzania, and it's one of those genres that are celebrated as Tanzanian local music. So you should definitely expect a lot of participation from the biggest Bongo Flava acts.
Mm-hmm. Well, very interesting. Now let's come and talk about football now. Group B, Tanzania playing against Burkina Faso. It will be playing against Mauritania, Madagascar, and the Central African Republic. Your assessment of Group B? That is Jeffrey.
I lost you guys again.
All right. Okay, Jeffrey, let me repeat that question. Group B, Tanzania, Burkina Faso, Mauritania, Madagascar, and the Central African Republic. Your assessment of this group overall?
Yeah, I think Tanzania has been put in a pretty decent group as far as Tanzanian chances of prevailing to the latter stages of the tournament are concerned. Because you're talking about a tournament that employs players who are applying their trade in the domestic leagues. And one thing about the Tanzanian national team is that it's mainly made up of players who play in the local league for the biggest teams like Yanga, Simba, Azam, and other club sides who play in the NBC Premier League. So if you compare, Tanzania actually is one of the favorites for these tournaments because pretty much the same team that normally plays in the AFCON tournament is the very same team that plays in the CHAN tournament in a bit of a different way, like the case is with South Africa. Is you was hearing our comrade Veli Lemnyandu was saying, pretty much the same group of players who play in the AFCON tournament are the same ones who play in the CHAN, and they're the same players who also ply their trade for the biggest teams here, Simba and Yanga, who are known to be permanent fixtures in the latter stages of the CAF Confederations Cup tournament as well as the CAF Champions League. So that is a bit of an advantage when it comes to Tanzania in this group, because we don't know much about what happens in Mauritanian club football, Madagascar club football, Central African, as well as Burkina Faso. Some of the best players from teams like Burkina Faso and Central African Republic are players who ply their trade outside these countries. You're talking of a guy like Aziz Ki, who used to play here for Yanga, now he plays for Casablanca with Central African Republic. You're talking of guys like Geoffrey Kondogbia, who plays in Europe. Also the Madagascar national team. This is a team that is pretty much made up of guys who play in second division in France, places like Saudi Arabia and all that. So this means that there's a huge difference between what happens in the senior national teams that play in the AFCON qualifiers as well as what happens in CHAN. But for Tanzania, we don't have that problem. But a few players, 3 or 4 players like Mbwana Samata, Novatus Dismas, and Simon Suva, the rest of the players are the same players who play for the senior national team that will play in the Morocco. So it's an advantage when it comes and big match temperament. So I think Tanzania stands a very good chance of not just getting out of the group safely, but rather winning the whole thing.
All right, and your assessment of the team that was picked by Coach Hamed Suleiman Morocco and that will be playing in Dar es Salaam, starting Saturday as we come to a close.
It's a pretty decent side with players who have been playing in some of the biggest matches in the CAF Champions League, CAF Confederations Cup. You're talking of a player like the best attacking midfielder in East Africa, if you ask me, Faisal Salum. I know Kenyans would definitely think that is a guy like Austin Odhiambo. And of course, if you ask me, two of the best attacking midfielders in East Africa right now are Faisal Salum and Austin Odhiambo. Very talented players. You're talking of a player like Mohamed Hussein Zimbwe, who just left Simba. He's been their captain for about 5 seasons. You're talking of players like Ibrahim Baka and Dixon Job, the 2 central defenders from Yanga, who have been the best centre-back pairing for the past 3 or 4 seasons. So Hemedi Morocco has called up a pretty young but very experienced side. And everybody in Tanzania is very confident because that extra motivation that comes from the 12th man, the fan, because all the matches will be played at home. I think the confidence amongst the fans is definitely very high, and they have huge expectations from the Tanzania national team in this year's chance participation, where Tanzania is going to be one of the hosts.
Thank you very much, Jeffrey, for your time this morning. Now, and you know what? If you've got to come to Nairobi, you know where to make the first stop. Thank you very much for being with us. Remember, Tanzania are joint hosts. Okay.
I mean, it will be a pleasure if I get to come to Nairobi to witness at least one of the matches, because for those who don't know, I grew up in Kenya. I spent a lot of my childhood in Kenya. I'm someone who was on the pitch when Harambee Stars played Super Eagles in 1997. I was there when Mike Okoth was scoring 4 goals when Kenya was beating Burkina Faso 4-3. So I'm someone with a Kenyan background, and I'll definitely be excited to travel to Kenya and witness one of the matches by Harambee Stars.
Kuja basi wewe ni mtu wa mtaani hapa. Wewe kuja huku Kiswahili wachana nayo mingi hiyo ya huko. Wewe tutakuja tuongee lugha ya hapa. Thank you very much, Jeffrey, for your time this morning. Hope to see you in Nairobi or Kampala, wherever it is. Well, so conversations you can hear about how big it is a cultural event. It's not just about football, it's the entertainment, and you've been given some homework, Singeli music, high electric, fast Swahili as it comes through. And now, we still have got a few minutes on the program remaining, and we're going to be speaking to the Africa Sport Press Association President Abdoulaye Thiam. He is in Senegal, APE's president. Brian, you can tell me just when he's there. So, so the whole story here is getting to the story of the different countries we've had from South Africa. Very interesting that Bafana, they have got good players, but many of them, like you've had from Nyandu, are going to be free agents. Basically, they are unattached to any club. If you try to sign up a player who is unattached in Kenya, what you'd end up with is a fiasco. And you've seen that Simba and Young Azam are dominating the Tanzanian side. And remember, the country being jointly hosted by Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. News flash, let me remind you this. The tickets for the match between Kenya and the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is going to be on the 3rd, have been sold out. So you are left with one option, Chan, Iko KBC. And now let's move over to Senegal and join APE's president. He's also a sports journalist, Abdoulaye Thiam. Good morning to you, Abdoulaye.
Good morning, guys. How are you? You okay?
We are very much okay. Thank you very much. We are hoping to see you in Kampala, rather in Zanzibar, where Senegal are going to be based. But let's first look at...
like Zanzibar.
Yes, in Zanzibar. Let's first look at how, the qualification process for the local side. How would you rate the Senegal side from the domestic players? Because we know all the others who are in Europe. But for those who are playing in Dakar and around.
I'm sorry because my English is not good, but now we are preparing to go to to Tanzania. I hope my team want to be realized back to back because we are the champion of the title in Africa. And now we have two match. First match with Uganda. Uganda beat Senegal, and the second match with Tanzania. Tanzania beat Senegal 2-2, and we have one. But it's just the friendly match. It's not in the competition. I hope when it starts the competition, we see a very good team in Senegal because we are in the lion in Africa, and our president want to be raised back to back, go back in the with the trophy in Senegal.
One story about Senegal is that Aliou Cisse, he's a legend of the sport there. He has been, with that team. I mean, what was it, 8 years? That would be a record anywhere in Africa. But what has been the transition, the change of coaches now? And how are you seeing, the current staff managing the team?
Many journalists in Senegal are not happy because Cisse is the legend in Senegal. First, he's a very good player. He's the captain of our team, and he bring us in the first time the African Cup in Cameroon. But Senegal, we cannot accept somebody stay in the same place 10 year, 12 year. 50 years in the politics is the same. When you finish to have one mandate, two mandate, we want to you leave and we ask another people to come to continue his job. But Aliou Cisse is a legend in the Senegal here. Many people think it's not finished between Senegal and Aliou Cisse. Maybe next time we can call him to bring him again to continue his job. But now we have also a very good team. We have also a very good coach. I don't know if you know Pap Chow is also in the generation 2022 with Fadiga, Ella Diouf, Aliou Cisse, Pape Bouba Diop, and he is in the same team. Yes, he's a deputy team, coach, and Aliou Cisse is here. And we hope when we arrive to the African Cup in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, we will find a very good team of Senegal.
Well, very interesting. How would you describe the team? Because we can see some of these young prospects, besides the results in the Sekafa Three Nations Cup, players like Omar Ba, and
sorry, I don't understand you see?
I'm saying the kind of players that you have in the squad, players like Omar Ba, and there is also Baye Hassan. How would you rate this young squad, which is based at home?
Well, I think in Senegal the problem is you cannot conserve your team because many team from Europe, from America, from ASEAN, from the Gulf come here, and they bring the player to Europe, to America, and our team have a very big problem to have all the best player in Giraffe. You have a good player in generation foot. The team where Sadio Mane is coming from, and Jambars is the same. But I'm not sure we conserve the same team in the two competition together. It's not possible.
All right. Abdoulaye Thiam, he is the president of APES. And Abdoulaye, you are welcome to Nairobi. You've got enough friends in this town. I'm sure you also have got great friends out in Kampala and Dar es Salaam. So when you're here, we'll tell you, Karibu, and enjoy the football. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
I'm waiting for the cave because maybe we want to get the guest of cave. We are waiting for CAF, Veron Bosengo, or our friend Luke September is the same in the African Cup. We invite us, and now we are waiting for Luke September and Veron Mosengo. I will be happy to come to Kenya. I am going to Kenya in 2 times, but I never go to Tanzania. I would like to go to Tanzania because in Senegal we know we see in the tourism Dar es Salaam, we have a very good time, very nice time, very nice country. I hope I will be there.
Okay.
Now I am waiting for the election because in the 2 August we have a big election. Maybe we change the president of federation, Met Augustin Senghor. You know him, and now we have 7 candidates who want to be president. We are waiting to the election 2 August. After the election, we come to Kampala.
All right. Thank you very much. So at least we know, and we hope that you have a good transition of your
I'm
federation.
sorry because my English is not good.
Let me tell you, you are as genuine as it comes. Merci beaucoup, Abdoulaye Thiam.
Merci beaucoup.
Yes.
Merci.
Yes. And he is the president of APES Africa, and also he's a sports journalist based in Senegal. He's told us all about that and winds up our hop around the tournament. We went to South Africa, to Kafika Kwajirani, and we went to the western tip of Africa. Thank you for being with us this morning. Remember, Chan, iko KBC. And on Sunday, nimewambia, tickets are sold out. So you only have one option, Chan, iko KBC. My name is Daniel Wahome. Our sign language interpreter has been Anne Wangeshi. Have a good day. Up next, Kurunzi Mashinani.